Hey, I'm ElusiveKev, Massacre, and welcome back to MotoGP 17 for the final time before MotoGP 18 gets released. As we're going into quick mode, into Grand Prix, and we're doing a race around the Autodromo del Mugello circuit, which may have had a couple races. Today, as we're going to be racing as one of my favourite riders, Andrea Dovizioso on board that Ducati, which should be well suited to this fast-flowing Italian circuit. And what better way to go around it than on an Italian bike with an Italian rider? Has riding aids, if you can't remember, it's been a long time since I've been in this game. Physics are pro, everything is manual, no trajectory, no rewind, no off-track help. And then our race options, 23 laps. I don't think I've ever done a 100% race in any of the MotoGP games before. Definitely done some 50%ers, but 100 is a whole different ball game. As we're only doing the race, got the highest difficulty opponents on, random weather, heavy damage, tyre wear on, penalty timer on, and disciplinary flags on as well. So let's head to Italy. Let's see how we do. As we look at the grid with the Yamahas at the top alongside Petrucci, then Crutchlow, Pedrosa and Marcus all Honda second row. Then Lorenzo Iannone inside, Volga, Reddit and Jack Miller. Then Alicia Spargo, Lois Baz, Alvaro Bautista Rins, Abraham, Hector Barbara, then Rabat, Espargo, Lowe's, Bradley Swift and Dovizioso. So we are revving it up on the last row of the grid. I don't think Dovi starts down here very often, especially nowadays on board this Ducati, as you get a super start for these 23 laps with hard tyres front and rear. That's the only option really, but I'll talk about that as this video goes on. Is opening that, we're just looking to survive, make up some places as well as we go down Abraham, over Bautista. Could we get into the points? I'll take that, past Volga. And we've got Alex Rins in front, who's using lots of curves, so up into 14th. That's a better start than I got my practice race, which I did before this. 20 laps. And we were setting fastest laps on laps 16 and 17, so tyres definitely good. As they're going to go down the inside of Rins in one of the favourite passing spots for the motorbikes. As we're up into 13th, then on the edge of the top 10. This is much better than my practice race. Even though we're very slow through the right. We've got Zarco Miller batting in front. Oh, is that Alicia Spargo getting a bit leery as well? But we made up 10 places. Into the Yamahas leading away. Joined by Petrucci. So we have to make our way through the field quick. We want to catch them. As they outbreak ourselves, so easy to do that as you get into Alvaro. Just like I did my practice run actually there, but he fell off when I did that. So we dropped down to 17th. That is a stupid mistake. Cost us quite a few places. And going to cost us lots of time in this race. Not just that initial time, but battling with these riders as well. We're going to get good slipstream off for a bat, Ari. He's really hugging that line. It's the Spaniard as Vinales leads going into the second lap. Petrucci does the fast set though, 50.2. A couple of seconds start. We try and let down the inside of the Tech 3, and now we've outbraked ourselves again, costing ourselves time. Then it go down the inside of not just Rabat, but of Rins as well. That's all we get into is that Baz. It is. Dearly missed in MotoGP in my view, as he pushes us right in the next corner, just as I talk him up, so we give him a little nudge back. Get back up to 14th though. Now we can go down the inside of Volga, just like we did on Rins on the opening lap. Got Jack Meadow in front in 12th. On the Mark VDS, I already forgotten that he was on the Mark VDS. Feels so long ago, 2017 already. Of course, he's been talked about maybe in that factory Ducati seat. And after the events of today, who knows what's going to happen there. But this video was meant to be talking about MotoGP 17. Talking about manager career, rider career. Talking about MotoGP 17 in general as well as a game, and previewing MotoGP 18, our hopes, expectations for it, what we've seen so far. On the preview game, players are up to 12th now, halfway through the field. Just got the other half to do now. As Petrucci takes the lead from Vinales as they cross the line. We've got Alicia Spargo and Andrea Iannone in front, almost a Dovizioso. I was a bit confused in the Ducati years as well when you just say, oh look, Andrea doing well. No, they're both Andrea. You've gone to the third lap. And another reason I selected Mugello, so not just because of the days, because it's one of my favourite circuits. It's a circuit where our opponents are a bit slower as well, so been a bit rusty as well. This should help against the Stilfley, but we should not run into tyre issues, even though, as I understand it, our opponents don't actually suffer from tyre wear. We do though. And it's like the tyre wear is decent, at least to lap 20. As I said, we're setting fastest laps. 16 and 17 laps into the race, so no doubt tyre wear should be decent this race. But it's fun playing this game again. It has been a while. I've put in almost 150 hours into the game. Definitely one of my most played games on Steam. And I'll definitely be buying it on PC again for MotoGP 18. Just easier to record on PC, in my view. And even though it's a port, they have been getting better at it. Milestone porting the games to PC. Not as much glaring issues on the Unreal Engine compared to this engine. Their original engine, which they made for the MotoGP games when they got the license. Back in 2013, wasn't it? MotoGP 13. So look at that. Then eat your heart out, Daniel Ricciardo. That's how you do. Looking outside, going inside. Movers are into the top 10 already. Could make that 9th very quickly. Past the Aprilia, which has no straight line speed. We set a 46. We're not far off the leading pace, actually, are we? No, 6/10 down. That's pretty poor, actually. We're up into 9th temporarily as we outbrake ourselves. Sort of the feel of the punt going from behind. Oh, there we go. Make the move up. Now, sit we're behind our friend Jorge. No, it's Scott Redding. God, he hasn't been up here in ages, has he? In real life, having a horror show on board the Aprilia. Might be out of MotoGP at the end of the season. That's the rumour. That's this guy we're battling with. At least continues to deliver on the Aprilia, even though the Aprilia seems to be a difficult bike. Unreliability issues. As where the heck are we going? No, this is the issue. We've got going through the field, battling with players. And there's all these laps battling, costing us seconds compared to the front, who can just battle with each other at similar speeds, or we're battling with riders who are a second or two slower, and then battling causes lost time as we really get into Iannone. That's for nicking that win in Austria. That's what Dovi is probably saying under the helmet. No, Dovi's not normally like that though. He even saw the day shake Lorenzo's hand, despite being incredibly disappointed he missed out on the win. So he believes the tyre strategy. Just chose the wrong front tyre. And then he lost the rears at the end and almost got caught by Rossi. As I'm guessing we'll talk about the Mugello races today then to begin off with. But yeah, well done to Jorge. Never thought he would win on a Ducati. He's shown pace in early parts of races, like his whole shot ability is definitely there this season. But he just hasn't had the pace as the race has gone on until today. And when like Dovi was maybe going to threaten him, pounce on him, he just responded. He was just consistent. And while Dovi was struggling, he said all race on he couldn't push with the front of the bike. And then, as I said, the last couple of laps he lost the rears. And this meant Jorge could just cruise on the last couple of laps. Won by a massive margin in the end. It's a typical Lorenzo victory. Take the whole shot, control the pace, manage the tyres, be incredibly consistent, and then cross the line first. is what he used to do all the time on board his Yamaha. And now he's done it on a Ducati as well. And that's something he can put in his little feather in his cap. Especially compared to another MotoGP legend in Valentino Rossi. At least he can say, I've won on a Ducati and a Yamaha. What did you do on the Ducati years? To be fair, the Ducati was a different beast back then. Now it is a front runner, a championship contender. That bike. Much more stable round corners, easier to ride, as shown by Lorenzo winning on it. A very smooth rider. Loves his corner speed. That's where he gets all his pace. And he couldn't do that when the Rossi years. Couldn't ride the bike like he could now. He'd really have to change his style. Back in the Rossi and the late Nicky Hayden. Well, they were partners of crime. And then Dovi came along. And we had Crutcher, we had Iannone. I know it's easy to forget Cal Crutcher was on a Ducati. A disastrous year for the Englishman. But hey, it led to Honda, and he's done pretty well on the Honda since then, so maybe that year was necessary for Crutcher. Also for financial security as well. He got paid pretty handsomely, just like Lorenzo has for being at Ducati. Even though it might not be the best career choice. But you never know for Lorenzo. The big rumour is that he's going back on board a Yamaha next year. Not in the factory team. But it seems like he's going to be on a satellite Yamaha. Still factory spec though. I believe it's going to be 2019 model next year. I mean, he probably wouldn't accept it otherwise. But that's the rumour as you get into Crutch though. And get up into 7th. And that is pretty amazing, as here we are behind our friend Jorge now. In 6th. Expect him to be a bit better even in virtual form than this. But that is incredible that Lorenzo's been linked to Suzuki. Linked all over the place. He might end up back on the bike which he's probably the best on. Even though that Yamaha seems to be a different beast from when he was on it. The struggles of Maverick Vinales, particularly in earlier races, but that's Lorenzo's kind of strength, the early part of races, especially compared to Maverick. So it'd be interesting to see if he's back on the Yamaha. How are you doing 2019? As Vinales had dynamite pace in the second half of races, but not in the first half. And Rossi's just able to eke out the maximum he can from that bike. And that's why he's second in the championship. Vinales has dropped back slightly. And also a big part of this race, not just seeing the return of Jorge Lorenzo, not seeing a Ducati 1-2 as well in the Italian race. It's seeing Marc Marquez fall down despite one of the best attempts ever at trying to save a bike from going down. He was attached to that thing forever. But unfortunately, for once, he could not save it. As hello, Jorge. Now you're just blocking us on the exit. It's a bit like Valencia last year, isn't it? Must have been for Dovi. So 2.3 behind Marquez, and that's probably Danny in front of him. As Petrucci and the Yamahas are just sailing away in the lead. Yeah, Marc Marquez, he made another mistake. But he's still got a good lead in the championship, almost a race win over Rossi. But with that, Dovi's back in the fight. Just under 30 points back now. Of course, I'm rooting for Dovi to win the title, as unfortunately Danny's best years of winning a title way behind him. They were pre-Marquez. Unfortunately, that's when he got injured an awful heck of a lot. One of the fastest riders in that around the turn of the decade, but lots of injuries meant he could never mount a consistent championship run. until that year before Marcus came. And he was battling with Jorge and unfortunately just lost it in the end to the Yamaha. That was kind of through no fault of his own as well that year. I remember he had a couple of incidents where he got taken out. It was just wrong place, wrong time. So unfortunately for Danny, he'll probably end up as one of the best riders to never win a top class title. Out of those riders who have ridden in the top class, along with Mirandi Momola, as well from the 80s and early 90s. But I hope that's not Pedrosa's legacy. It probably will be now. That's how the history books will write it. But he was one of those riders in the mid-thousands, along with Lorenzo. Then later in the decade with Marco Simoncelli, Casey Stoner as well around the same period. Dovizioso as well. This golden generation of riders. Who, as you can see, are now fighting for titles or fought for titles in the top class. Unfortunately, we never saw it with Marco Simoncelli, even though he's turning his career around in MotoGP level before his incident. And he's going to be one of the big what-ifs. Now, what could he have done on a factory Honda? What would have Honda done? I could have imagined him alongside Pedrosa. What would Cusini done as well? Would they have shacked up with Aprilia? Would Honda try to make them stick with them and ride Simoncelli? Or would it be LCR like it is now with Crutcher and a similar deal? God, the Simoncelli piece of the puzzle would have been intriguing heading into the next couple of years with the likes of Marquez, you know, rising up as well. What would have Honda done? Unfortunately, that's all it will be, a what if. Just like it is for us catching the riders in front as we approach the halfway mark of this race. We've got Vinales and Petrucci battling for the lead. We're 1.7 behind Marquez of Vinales. So you've got Rossi in third. We've got Marquez and Pedrosa in front. We can see them. So we've got a decent gap behind us. We're just settling into the 46s. Just like in the practice race. We settled into 46s. But it wasn't just MotoGP that race today. We also had Moto2. An even better race than the Moto3 race, arguably. Miguel Oliveira coming out on top ahead of Lorenzo Baldassari just at the line. And Oliveira, he's definitely been an Alex Rins legacy in the lower classes, where Rins was supremely talented, you could see that, but never won a title. It's like Oliveira is building the same legacy, even though he's got a better chance of winning the Moto2 title than Rins ever did. With Dominic Johan Zarco up there. And Tito Rabat as well, was he? No, it was Zarco, wasn't it? He was at the top during Rins' time. But this Moto2 championship is unbelievable this year. Yes, Bagnaia's got a bit of a lead in the championship and once again got a very solid position in fourth. But behind that, you've got the likes of Alex Marquez as well, who's a bit disappointing in the race. When he was in fifth, with a few laps to go, he was near his teammate Juan Mir. But guess which Spaniard kicked on and got a podium place? It was the rookie at Moto2 level, getting his second consecutive third place finish. And for Alex Marquez, maybe time was running out for him to get a competitive or a decent MotoGP seat. Because Juan Mir's leapfrogging him. And he's not the only one who's going to be leapfrogging him in the future. You've got Jorge Martin, who won the Moto3 race. You've got lots of talented guys young talented guys. Oliveira as well. Baldassarri's. Looks like he's kicking on a bit. Dijan Antonio at Moto3 level as well. He's very good. Bezzecchi at Moto3 level. He's the championship leader. So for Alex Marquez, yes, he's got the surname, but needs to do a bit better maybe this year. This is the year he's got to win the title. Otherwise, he could be trapped in Moto2 for a long time. And it's interesting to see how seats shake up next year with the Mark VDS thing happening on lower down the field. If they might not be around. And there's big concerns about where Franco Morbidelli will be next year because of that. And we're not sure he's actually contracted to Mark VDS. Like I could see Thomas Luthi just dropping back down to Moto2. And that could free up a spot on the grid. Well, for Morbidelli, he could be alongside Lorenzo, as a rumour, on that satellite Yamaha team, which would be crazy. There we go, that's a 46-1. That's more like it. So we are at the halfway mark of the race. So yeah, silly season's definitely in full swing. And Juan Mir is a big name in that silly season. There's suggestions he could do a Vinales and just jump right up. Maybe be at Suzuki. He's very strongly linked. But then you have Mir and Rins. I know Rins has been around for a couple of years now, but sure you want a more experienced rider maybe to lead that team. But in saying that, they want to race with a very fresh-faced Maverick Vinales, so maybe not. And alongside them, they had Alicia Spargo, who had many years of experience at MotoGP level. So maybe they need a balance like that alongside Alex Rins. And that's why Jorge Lorenzo's maybe linked to that seat as well. Especially when it looked like there was no other seat, big team offering many seats. Like you could never see him at Honda. But then Danny's seat looks under threat, and then again Juan Mir's kind of linked to that as well maybe. So you go finally making the move on Marquez into the top 5. Let's try and catch down Danny in front. But yeah, in Moto2 it's interesting championship. You also have Matteo Pessina, the veteran, leading. And then he just binned it with a couple of laps to go. As the race entered its final phase, everyone was ramping up the pace, but that was insane. And he's a bit like Thomas Luthi was in that category now, where he's a veteran of the category, but he's always up there challenging for the championship. It's not like a Dominique Aguilar, unfortunately, who's just struggling to even get top 10s. I remember a couple of years ago, he was hardly touted to maybe be challenging for the Moto2 title if he got the right bike. Well, unfortunately, time has moved on and maybe he hasn't. It's a bit harsh to say. He's just been overtaken by all this young talent and how competitive this Moto2 field is now as well. Insanely competitive. This year, maybe the most competitive class out of all of them riders, right? And in saying that, MotoGP's got an incredible field. Moto3 at the front as well. As I said, Jorge Martin won today. And the Spaniard definitely seems to be the guy who's favourite for the championship, despite Bezzecchi leading it. The Italian. We got a podium with Mahindra, I remember last year in Japan. There's another VR46 product as well of the Academy, along with Dijan Antonio as well. So it's interesting seeing them battle to the line, the Italians. But yeah, he's been superb on that KTM this year. And he's just leading that championship from Martin. But then you also got the incredibly consistent DJ Antonio's. I think he's now in double figures for podiums. He's up to 10 now, without scoring a race win. It's unbelievable for the Italian. Once again, he was the bridesmaid by a tenth, I say, or less than a tenth. He's surely going to get one soon. But yeah, it's incredibly close at the top in Moto 3. And then we've also got Aaron Canet, who finished down in 11th. But still, he's about a race win back. The Spaniard, one of the pre-season championship favourites as well. He's not gone his way this season. Arguably should have had a race ban after being an idiot in Argentina in practice and intentionally taking someone out from the looks of it. He should have at least got a race ban. Maybe a handful, because that is frankly unacceptable. Then we saw what Marc Marquez did that race as well, and he was still standing for the next race in Cota. And we also saw the start of the MotoGP race as well from Argentina, when Jack Miller was the only guy who chose the right tyres, but because everyone else decided to pit at the end of the formation, that they had to halt it because of safety concerns. Because having 20 odd bikes trying to storm out the pits at the quickest time, maybe not the safest thing. And they didn't actually have that written in the rulebook either, what they had to do on that occasion, so hopefully they've amended that now. And they came up with the best solution, I feel, considering the circumstances. By having Miller start all by himself, a few rows ahead of everyone else. Very strange sight. But yeah, all three championships may have a guy leading at the moment at the third mark of the season, but apart from MotoGP, I'm not sure he's going to be leading at the end of the season. They are three incredibly competitive championships, even though MotoGP's maybe not its best this year, considering especially the past couple of seasons. But Moto 2 and Moto 3, definitely keep an eye on them as the season go on. Even Moto 2's been much more exciting than it has been for a few years. So that's real world racing. Now let's talk about MotoGP 17. Talk about the career modes as well. Patrick McDonald in rider career, which we'll be doing for MotoGP 18. Unfortunately, no manager career option. A rider career. This will be the 60th episode of rider career. I know, doesn't make sense. Well, it was meant to be the 60th episode, but then I uninstalled MotoGP 17, reinstalled it, and there's no save file. So, unfortunately, I couldn't ride as Patrick McDonald on this race, which I would have liked to have done. As here we go around the outside, Pedrosa 4-4 from the back. I'll take that. You can get the bike slowed down for the first corner as Petrucci takes the lead from Vinales. There we go. I'm sure the Italian fans will be going ballistic like they were today with Rossi in third. And look at that, 9 seconds in front. This is very much our race now, battling with Pedrosa. Remaining 7 laps of it. And this is around the time of the race where we're setting fastest laps as well on these hard tyres. No practice race, so we should be getting up to speed now. Patrick McDonald winning titles at all levels, including 2 MotoGP titles. In that second season as well, against hardest opponents. I was scared of doing that, because I don't think I was fast enough for these level of opponents, but obviously I was. Didn't realise that at all, and I'll definitely be starting MotoGP 18 just at the hardest level. I'm probably going to be awful in the first race. Thanks, Danny. Don't often do that in real life. Of course, computer game Danny just gives no shits at all, and it's like when you go into the final corner. Yeah, you get that back, Danny. Real life Dovi wouldn't do that either. He'd brake early and cut underneath the Honda like he's done on markers on a number of occasions. As the Jutsu takes back the lead from Vinales. So go, that's how you nail the first corner. So hopefully we can pull away now. I actually need to look in the bottom right for a tyre. And look at that, midway, both tyres, we're fine. So the best of the career modes then, who was better, Patrick or Dan McDonald? As I said, Patrick won at every level. It's an inaugural season in Moto3 after his break. So he actually did spend 2 seasons in each class. Of course, won the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well in controversial circumstances in Aragon. But he just held on to that title, won it in the final race. Moto3 Championship, he was a bit easier, especially in the second half of the season. Moto2 was very up and down his first season, and then once again just raced to that title in the second half of the year. Let's go very wide. Go back down inside, Danny. Someone don't clip that out of context. And then in MotoGP, he won the title in his first year, and then in the second year, just in the final race. So there's a couple of close seasons in MotoGP, but won 2 titles, won 4 titles in total, won 49 races. He would be top 10 in all time. Just as real. Just like Dan McDonald in manager career. Had a couple more seasons, had 8 of them. And only won 2 titles, that Moto3 title after 3 seasons, I think it was. At Moto3 level. Or was it 4? It's been so long, can't remember. I think it was 4 actually, wasn't it? We spent 2 seasons on the Persian and 2 on the Mahindra. Oh, the front of the bike again. Injuring a bit. This is not what you want with 5 laps to go, or just over 5 laps. And so now slowing our pace down to Bedros instead of trying to put away. And that's an issue because there you go, that's always an issue. We cannot trust our opponents. And he's just taken us off. Thanks, Danny. Let's try and take back 4th. Then we might actually have a bit of a fight in these last few laps. Thought we were just going to sail away once we got by, but maybe not. But for Dan McDonald, yeah, he got that Moto3 title eventually. And a very up and down season, just like Patrick. In his first season in Moto2, and then even in the second year, a bit up and down, he just lost the title to Morbidelli. And then at MotoGP level, close to, well, a bit up and down in his first season, but still close to the title, or close-ish. And then grabbing it in his second season, his final season, as he grabbed 55 wins in total, including 11 in his final season. Maybe I was exaggerating when I said this title was a bit close. So got a good gap behind the Marquez of almost a couple of seconds. So no doubt it looks like Patrick McDonald was better, but who do you think? Was it Dan McDonald who was the better rider? As he had to struggle with the likes of a Peugeot Mahindra in Moto3. But then, saying that, I think Patrick McDonald rode every type of bike you could, every manufacturer you could at MotoGP level, and won on all of them. So, actually, did he win on the Aprilia? Can't remember now. He won on almost all of them. I remember him winning on the KTM, on the Ducati, Suzuki. Yamaha and Honda. And then Dan McDonald also had to build up a team Elusive where they're only a year together. He was much better than Patrick. Well, Patrick always went into factory teams or established teams. Didn't have to build any of them up. So the stats are pretty similar on paper as well. Wins, podiums wise. It's just titles wise, which is a bit different with Patrick. One of those rare riders have it in all classes. I think only Marquez and Rossi on the current grid have that. Well, Dan fought hard to win 2 in his 8 seasons. So, yeah, let me know down below who you thought was better. But definitely manager career was the career mode, or has been the playthrough. On this channel, I definitely want that to be with MotoGP 18 rider career as well. It's just very disappointing not to have manager career back. As rider career, yes, it wasn't as successful as manager, but still it did good numbers, especially compared to the current playthroughs of TTR Le Mans, Monster Energy Supercross. With barge as well, and gravel from what little I've played of it so far. And in general, MotoGP 17, I have enjoyed this game a lot. Probably the most enjoyable game I've had since 15. Even though I think Valentino Rossi, the game probably had more to offer, was maybe better than this game. Just the amount of content you had. And now they did career as well. That was pretty good. Being part of the VR46 Academy and actually working out pretty well, doing all those side events. Even though I did make career mode drag a bit, it was good fun. And you also had all those different game modes as well, the RC cars. Yamaha R1 to ride around, that's a super bike to ride. You just had the events as well. All the different bikes through Rossi's career. Insane amount of content. They never matched at Will Milestone. We used official bike games. But that tie-in was well executed, I was saying, even if the game in general wasn't the best. I still hold maybe 15 to be the best so far for Milestone. 13 was very raw, very poor hand in rise. And 14 just really improved on handling graphics, but not much else. 15 improved on handling. Graphics wasn't improved too much, but in career you also had like your make a team option. And yeah, 15 was pretty good fun. But with 18 I expect a big leap up, like we saw from MXGP2 to MXGP3. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that from the previews that we've seen. No, hopefully it doesn't have all the bugs that Monster Energy Supercross had when it was launched. Same with MXGP3, especially online for both games. Online's been pretty poor. In general from Milestone, I don't expect that to change at all. That hasn't changed at all with the change of engine to Unreal from this engine. So I don't expect that to change at all. They need to just resync their philosophy on online. Maybe have just dedicated servers like we see with sim racing, like we see most online games that work over iRacing as well. Like the sim racing system for likes of Automobilista, Assetto Corsa. Maybe just put a few dedicated servers up, that'd be fine. I'm not sure Milestone have the ambition to do that. Maybe don't have the capital to do that as well. And in saying that, I'm talking about niche sim titles, haven't it? So, this is a company that makes 4 games per year, at least. You know, big licensed game as well within a niche, such as MotoGP, Monster Energy Supercross, their own IP in gravel, which has taken a few years to make. And then Ride 3, which is their version of Forza for bikes. It seems to have been very good with Ride 2, so maybe Milestone can do dedicated servers. You might actually have an online presence then. I know there's little pockets of community for online, but after the first couple of weeks, you'll be waiting for ages for a game, so yeah, I hope they do try and address that with 18, but unlikely. That's even with esports as well being a thing. Even Cody's have attempted to address online slightly with esports. I know that has mostly amounted to just having a new UI for spectator mode, but let's see if that improves with F1 2018. But from what I've seen of MotoGP 18, unfortunately it doesn't look too different, and they've talked about how they've remodeled everything, built everything from the ground up on the Unreal Engine for MotoGP games, but the opponents look like they're behaving similarly in the previous videos. The models, the riders don't look like they're behaving not all that differently, not too many different animations. You still don't have the leg dangle for the likes of Rossi. You don't have Marcus's body looking like it's Spider-Man on acid on the bike like it's in real life. I know it might be difficult to fully model and animate those in the game, but still, just some variety. Match like real life. Even though it does look like the circuits have improved, modeling wise, and look much more detailed, in depth, especially off track as well. I think we finally broke Pedrosa on these last couple of laps of the race. As Vinales wins, ahead of Petrucci and Rossi in third. And we're going to cross the line in fourth from last. I'll take that. Our first 100% race, but I'm looking forward to MotoGP 18. I'm not sure how good it would be or how big a leap forward it will be, if it's that leap forward we want as well. As I thought, MotoGP 17, fine game, lots of issues, especially in the beginning. Like most milestone games, unfortunately, like most launch games now, unfortunately. As he did the fastest lap as well, 45.8, I'll take that. As with 15 seconds behind Vinales, with Petrucci just in second, Rossi a second back in third. Then Pedrosa ran out top 5 ahead of Marquez, Lorenzo Zarco, Alicia Spargo in ninth, and there's a pre ahead of Cal Crutchlow. Scott Redding, nice Baz, come back from that BMW World Superbikes. I want you in MotoGP again. Jack Miller, over at the tiers then. Andrei Noni down in 15th on his. Suzuki Cal Abraham at the back. But yeah, that's my sum up of MotoGP 17. That's our last race in the game as well. A very good game at its peak, but too much stuff holding it back from being a very good game overall. Obviously, it's had very mixed reviews as well, and that's due to lots of issues, especially online, which, as I said, I'm not sure most of them are fixed for MotoGP 18, and I just want better physics. I just want better handling as well, and I want to see improvement like we saw from MXGP 2 to MXGP 3, like when they changed engines, and MXGP 3 was a much better game handling wise, much better looking game as well. Opponents weren't all that different, unfortunately. Career mode wasn't different at all. I don't expect that to change as well from MotoGP 17 to MotoGP 18 at all. And yeah, MXGP 3 is just a much more fun game. It's a different experience. I'm not sure we get a different experience on MotoGP 18 from MotoGP 17, but hopefully Milestone can prove me wrong when a game gets released at the end of this week. And of course, I'll be showing you MotoGP 18 from its release date every day until the end of the next week, doing some career mode and doing maybe some online as well, show that off. And then at the end of the month, doing the same with MXGP Pro from Milestone once again. As I said, they really are trying to establish themselves as the bike kings in the gaming sphere, and definitely doing that this year with 3 bike games being released out of 4 games they're releasing. So hope you enjoyed our final ride in MotoGP 17. Hope I didn't disappoint you too much by finishing in 4th, not on the podium. Won't see celebrations at the end, but hope you enjoyed our time in MotoGP 17. Very much looking forward to MotoGP 18, even if I'm not looking forward to the game a crazy amount. I'm still looking forward to a new title in the MotoGP gaming franchise and looking forward to seeing what that could be. Hopefully I'm proved wrong. I'm not going to be disappointed like I expect to be. Hopefully it is a leap forward from Milestone, but I know what to expect from Milestone, unfortunately, and I know I've seen what they've done in the past. As I said, with Monster Energy Supercross, I may enjoy that game a lot, but there's still some issues holding that back, and I expect that to be the same with MotoGP 18. But I've rambled enough. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.